Rogan goes ahead and drops a bomb on us. He doesn't usually post on Saturday, but today he did. He hit us with a Louis C.K. episode. It's episode 1929. I'm at 13 minutes, 42 seconds, and I love what he's about to say. It's in regards to stand-up, but I am going to relate it to our personal lives and how we speak to one another and what we're willing to accept and what we're not willing to accept. I'm Coach Colin, coolest high performance coach in the world. And if you want the absolute best insights to the podcast and videos you love, hit that subscribe button. Let's get into it.
Because like I was listening to Patrice last night with my opener, Ariel. I just three names for some reason. Fucking Ariel Isaac Norman. We worked together in New Orleans. We did a show in Mobile and we drove to New Orleans. And I was playing for her Patrice's album, Mr. P. And Patrice ONeal, and he does a couple of bits and he says to the crowd, you guys are laughing, that's good, but you're not all laughing, and that's good. I don't want you all to laugh. If everybody's laughing, it's not fun. You need somebody in here going like, that's not okay. And I believe that. Like it actually makes comedy better if it has if you have pushback, because the problem that some comedians have is they get hurt. They get their feelings hurt. If someone doesn't like the joke, they feel that it's, oh, you don't like me. And then they back away from anything that makes them feel like that. Yeah. But if you can be like, here's a terrible thing, and the audience goes like, oh, and you just hear, you don't get emotionally involved. Yeah. You hear the, and you go, okay, I can either go around it or I can go into it. We can go further into this. There's potential in that horrible feeling for another laugh past it that they've never experienced. Right. Because usually when an audience shows, I don't want to hear that, people back away. But if you stay with it, I'm still talking about it. I'm still talking. I'm still your friend. Like, I'm not going, fuck you people. Right. You know, that thing, that's another cop-out. Right. Fuck you, you pussies. You just go, okay, you didn't like it? Well, here's a little more about it. And then you see them, and if you get them like that, and then you can... I remember once I was in...
Now he's about to go into a bit like, listen, I'm trying to get monetized on YouTube. The thing that he goes into, the story is crazy. You need to listen to this episode. It has shock value. It has wisdom. It has, it's a great episode, man. Great episode. This guy's a well of knowledge when it comes to stand up. And when you understand one thing broadly, it tends to give you wisdom in all other aspects of life. So, what he's talking about in regards to not everybody laughing, what Patrice ONeal was talking about, it's good that not everybody's laughing. I think that translates to us as people in regards to us communicating with one another. Echo chambers, you know what an echo chamber is, right? It's when you're around a bunch of people and they all agree with you. Nobody gives you any pushback to anything that you have to say. Everybody, you say, I think this, and they go, I think this, and that's why it's called an echo chamber, because you're all saying the same thing, like seals, like, you know what I mean? Like chickens, like you're all just clucking, you're just doing the same thing, And I think it is good, again, to relate back when not everybody's laughing, because what he talks about in this part of the podcast is how he strengthens his bits because of the people that aren't laughing. He actually gives a really good analogy of it helps him smooth out all the rough edges of a bit because somebody's not laughing, and it makes it so he has to go deeper into it until he gets this woman on her side. Again, he's talking about some wild stuff that I can't put on YouTube. I got to go through like a monetization review. They're reviewing my channel, so I can't put it on. It's about some wild stuff. But he has to get this woman on his side. So he has to keep on thinking of ways to bring this topic to her over and over and over again until all of a sudden she gets it and she goes, oh, okay. And she starts laughing too. And I think that is something that we really have to take in when it comes to people not being on our side in terms of, like, let's say debate or just things that you have to say, things that you think. You shouldn't immediately, like he said, you shouldn't just point at everybody and go, fuck you, man. You don't think what I think, fuck, and discard people. Instead, you should see that. not get emotionally connected to how they're reacting to what you're saying, and just see that they're not on your side. And now how can I go deeper so they understand my point? Not how can I badger them and keep on harassing them with what I think. How can I now make them understand? Because I just said it one way and they don't quite get it. So now I'm going to say it another way, or I'm going to say it a different way. You know, like, have you ever watched a talk where you just completely don't agree with the person who's talking? Maybe me. Maybe you've watched one of my videos. You don't agree until the end. But you keep on hearing this person talk and you're like, I don't agree with that. I don't like the way they're saying that. I don't like this. I don't like that. But then all of a sudden they keep on going and you start to see the human part of them. You start to see the parts of them that relate to you. You start to understand that this isn't a person that you hate. You just disagreed with one thing that they said or how they said it. And now they're showing you some parts of them that you can relate to. So now you start opening up to them. And now they're kind of lightening their argument a little bit. And they're coming at it a different way. And now you're like, okay, I kind of get that. Like, you ever had that feeling where you're just, or maybe you've said it out loud, maybe you're in actual debate, confrontation with somebody. And now all of a sudden they say it one way and you're like, okay, I get what you're saying, but like, come on, man. You know, like that type of feeling. Like, I think that's so necessary, because when you do go through that, if you've ever gone through that, or you've been on the other side and somebody's had to go through that with you, you've helped them strengthen their argument so much. You've helped them understand that they can't just come at it like this, that they actually have to come at it like this. You know, they have to come at it more gently. They have to kind of, you know, provide some examples, maybe provide an analogy, maybe they have to get more nuance with their conversation. Maybe they just have to lighten completely. Maybe they have to sacrifice a couple of points from their argument in order for certain things to get through to you, and vice versa. Perhaps you have to do that. Perhaps you've been in confrontation with somebody and it's like talking to a brick wall. Well, maybe it's not talking to a brick wall. Maybe it's talking to a wall that just has one opening. And maybe there's certain things, you know, certain bullheadedness that you have to put aside. Maybe it's a certain, maybe you're going like this, and maybe you have to put that aside, and you have to now lighten your hands and not have them be all pointing, you know? Maybe you have to now talk a little differently. Maybe you have to, hey man, you know what I'm saying, man. Maybe you have to lighten the way you're talking. Maybe you have to calm down a little bit. Maybe you have to not emotionally connect to your point, because your point, or what you have to say, isn't you. It's just something that you're trying to get across. You like if you were trying to shoot a bow and arrow, and you're trying to shoot it, you know, again, like through some kind of or hit some kind of target, and it doesn't hit the target. You're not connected to that arrow. You don't go, oh, well, the target just doesn't like me. It's like, no. I'm just messing up with how I'm shooting right now. I gotta shoot a little differently. I gotta learn how to do this. The same thing in conversation. And it's just, yeah, you don't want everybody laughing. You don't want everybody agreeing with you. You need the pushback, right? It's like going into a gym. You know me, I always connected to the gym. It's like going into the gym. You don't need the weight to just agree with you and just be light and just everything goes like this. You need to have the thing give you pushback, because that's the only way that you get stronger, you know? So the next time you're in a confrontation, maybe you're someone who heavily, leans to the left. Maybe you're someone who heavily leans to the right. And maybe you're in debate with somebody who's on the opposite side, you know? Maybe you need to lighten your approach. Maybe you need to think more about what you're saying. Maybe you need to again, sacrifice some pieces of your argument. That's a little bullheaded. Being a dickhead there. I don't need to say it like that. Now all of a sudden you understand how to get your point across better. And the only way that happens is by being in front of people who disagree with you. I remember I had a friend once, and he was talking to me, and he's like, I'm never going to, he goes, he's a coach. He's like, oh, I'm going to make sure that I'm only around, and in this situation, it was like Christian people. He's like, I'm going to make sure I'm only around Christian people who agree with the stuff that I have to say. And I'm like, that is Like, I didn't want to say it to him, but I was like, that's so cowardly. I'm like, what are you talking about? You're going to only be around certain Christians who agree with the things that you're saying. I'm like, you have no strength in your arguments at that point. You're just looking to say stuff and have everybody go, yes, yes, yes. What kind of life is that to live? You want people to push back. So you actually have to think about what you're saying. You know? I don't know, man. It's just, I think it's really something to think about. I focus on personal development, but part of personal development and confidence and gaining more confidence is being able to have back and forths with people and not crumble and not move away from it and only be around people who agree with you. You know, have friends that don't agree with everything you have to say, you know, and watch what happens. See, there's a saying that goes like iron sharpens iron, right? And that we usually think of that as like our friends. Iron sharpens iron. So I'm around some good people and their iron sharpens my iron. But in reality, what's really going to sharpen your iron is you being around some people who don't agree with you. You being able to stay calm enough to have discussions with people who don't feel the same way as you. I really think that's beneficial. There's a reason why you can type into Google or YouTube right now and type in Jordan Peterson's most savage moments. There's a reason you can do that. It's because he doesn't have sit downs with people who just agree with him. In fact, the most viral things that he's ever done are conversations where the person completely disagrees with everything he stands for, and he has to strengthen his argument. And in strengthening his argument, in figuring out how to get his point across in the most elegant, calm way, actually makes it so he can be seen by more people who agree with him and who are like of the same thinking as him, which is good. You want to be around people who disagree with you. You want to be able to strengthen your argument, and then you want to find people who also agree with you through you strengthening your argument and stating what you have to say so well. There's people who feel like Jordan Peterson who say things so bluntly and so ignorantly that you would look at them and say, I want nothing to do with this person. But they have the exact same value set as Jordan Peterson. For some reason you agree, you respect Jordan Peterson, you don't respect them. That's the reason. They don't know how to get their point across. He does. I don't know. This is a great episode, man. I love the episodes that make me think. I love the episodes. I'm going a little long here. I apologize. But the ones that make me think, and I've been thinking about, like, ever since I heard this, because I've been listening to this episode all day since it dropped. And I've just been thinking about that. Like, how can I get around some people who disagree with me politely? I don't need anybody in the comment section being like, fuck you, man. I don't need all that. But like, debate is actually the thing that's going to make us stronger intellectually. Disagreements are the things that are going to make us stronger intellectually, and they're not to be ran from, you know? All right, I'm out.